Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is the 29th day. The month is March. It is 2026 on the ancient moon calendar, 2027 on the ancient sun calendar. It is 5786 on the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar. It's 10,067 on the ancient Yoruba calendar, and millions, and it's 1446 on the modern Islamic calendar, and it is millions and millions and trillions of years on the ancient Moorish calendar. Our calendar was the first, the greatest, the oldest, the most ancient, and we are outside of time as written, Islam. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign, living, ancient, Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices, and Aqquisitionne Pauline Ritchie, sovereign living justice, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is Linq Jure Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris lex and capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the one and only lawful and legal natural living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccans, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, Tartarians, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Moroccan Empire. We are the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District 4, Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate, and we are the earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District 4, Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action, and our system is the trustee. We are peace, we are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are peace, peace, peace. We are the mother nation, and we are all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc, Islam. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. We just celebrated our New Year on the 21st of March, and for that we are grateful. Islam. So what we have remembered and created as law is helpful in our daily lives as well as governmentally. And that's what we were stating in the meeting before the meeting about how the things that we've remembered over the last 9 years has made our lives so easy. All we have to do is remember and then use the tools that we have. Islam. With regard to something as simple as automobile insurance proof for travelers. So, does anyone know what the alternative to, and I love to speak with the Congress in this way because there's so much wisdom and just the thoughts are just amazing energy. Does anyone know the alternative to quote unquote car insurance when you have proclaimed your nationality? How you would manifest automobile insurance?
Islam.
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 Islam. Yes, through the post office. The post office, because the bank is the original office for the land, it held all offices. So that office, postmaster, would also be able to issue insurance as well.
Well, they wouldn't issue it. We would issue it to ourselves.
Well, I mean, our office would. The office,
yeah.
the office would be able to issue the insurance.
Yeah, Islam, because that is a part of our system. That office is a part of our system.
Islam.
Islam. Thank you, Chief Justice Angelica. Islam. Chief Justice Tonis.
Islam. This is Tonis Alajabe. I was thinking we could just take some dollarium, make a writ with it, and even have the dollarium included in the writ that you make, and have your own insurance. You know what? How much are you covered in regular? Make it $1 million. Writ covered by the dollarium. Actually, have the dollarium stapled to it, and carry that with you.
So, but who would you notify? Because we have to
You would notify them after you made the writ, of course. You would notify them after you made the writ. You would send it to the DMV and to whatever other government organization saying, I already have this, and it's being carried. And you only make one copy of it. That way, when they come to check, it's the same copy, the exact same thing, with the money right there. Boom. I mean, that's what I would, if we get to do what, make up the laws, that's what I would do. And that way, I know for a fact that I have my insurance. I'll let you know. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Islam.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Justice Tonis. Okay, let's go forward as well. Chief Justice C. Petit L put something in the chat. He put indemnis facier, and that would be the affidavit that Chief Justice Tonis was speaking of. Now, what you stated, Chief Justice Tonis, is a great, that is a great way to do it. There are a few nuances or a few things that we would add to that. Or actually use to clear up, to clarify that even more so. So, okay. So, anyone else? How would you manifest insurance as you travel in your automobiles?
Islam.
Islam Empress Nabi. Justice Nabi.
I would create a bond, issue a bond, and then from that bond, issue my insurance.
Islam. Wow. Wow. Empress Nabi, you never cease to fail. You always rise. Islam.
You all drive fucking hoopties.
Anyone
so what do you
else?
need insurance for? You all drive fucking hoopties. Pauline's all.
Empress Nabi, thank you. Anyone else?
Gratitude.
Anyone else? Islam. Okay. Alternatives to insurance. Alternatives include a certificate of deposit, and for us it will be an indemnis facier, for $60,000 and you deposit that with the state treasurer, or a liability bond for $60,000, which is what Empress Navi stated. She stated a bond, create a bond, and the way that works is you create a bond, and then you carry the certificate of that bond with you. So the certificate would go in your automobile. The bond would be deposited with the state, and we know we're the state, but we would send it to the subjects in the Office of State, because that office is a part of our system.
Islam, are you sharing the screen?
I am.
Well,
my apologies if you do not see that. Thank you, Empress Angel.
No problem.
And there it is on the screen, I believe. Can you all see that on the screen?
Yes.
And this is not just for Washington. This is just in general that this can be done. Islam. So it's very simple. Because we are the state, we can create our own, and that's what gives us the authority to do so. Is we're the state. So, with that being stated, always keep that in mind. What is part 2? What is the difference between a home and property? What is the difference between a home and property? Anyone will to take a guess?
Islam.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to take
So
a guess.
I'm guessing. Oh, Empress Shasha or Chief Justice Shasha, or I'm hearing other voices. Can you hear me or?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can hear you the loudest.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm guessing here, home being the domicile, the actual building in which one domiciles. Property might include the domicile, but it's the land or car or boat or any other of the things that one would have in their estate and trust.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Anyone else?
Islam.
Islam, that's what I was going to say.
Empress Cynthia?
Islam.
Well, hello? We can hear you, Chief Justice Cynthia.
Wonderful. I recently looked at that word property, and it doesn't mean land. It means sort of like the attributes of the on the land. It may have the properties of trees and berry bushes, certain wildflowers. It may have those properties, but it doesn't mean the land itself. It's sort of a character, I guess. I'm sure how to express this, of what the actual land has. So I hope that made some sense. But that's what I thought property meant. It's sort of describing the attributes and the particulars about the land itself. Islam.
Thank you, Empress Cynthia.
Oh, I yield.
Islam.
I heard one of the nobles.
Yeah, it's kill.
Yes, Islam nobility.
Yeah, I had a different meaning of what is a house and the property. This is just what came to mind, that the home is where the spirit rests within the body, and the body is the property of the Most High. I know it's a little off of what you're talking about, but that's just the way I saw it.
Oh no, that's directly that's
Long, yes.
that's right there. You're right there. That's on the spirit plane, and then as well as on this plane as well. Islam. Thank you. Very impressive. And then there was an empress that was going to make a statement.
Islam, this is Empress Nabi, that was me.
Yes.
I agree with Brother Akil. A home is a resting place where you abide, and property is an item which you possess.
All right then, Congress. Parse it out. The dividing asunder of soul and spirit, just accuracy. All the way around. Accuracy. The home is a location, just like you all stated. The region, city, and neighborhood, or the body, in which a home is located. So home is designated or defined by its location. Property is the characteristics of the house, including improvements and the land it sits on. Islam. It's important that we know that, because there's a difference between the land and the address. That's so important. The difference between the land and the address. Islam. Something to definitely know when you're talking about jurisdiction. But just like Justice Akil stated, the home our first home is the body. These bodies that we have, these temples that we have, and jurisdiction starts there. Islam. Today, our main topic. So we've done several things. Many things actually. We've declared our nationality. We've stated who we really are. Off came the mask. Okay. We have put everything in its proper place. Liened, levied, bonded. That was our way of saying, everybody be quiet. The creditors are here. We're speaking now, so just everybody be quiet. And by everybody, what we mean is those that were previously acting as whatever they were acting as. All actors be quiet. The sovereigns are speaking. And then what we did was we secured our own estates by stating that we're the fiduciary, by doing the 40-something documents that state that we are we are the all, we are Allah, we are all law, we are everything. That's what the 40 documents is about. We're law enforcement, we're the heads of all, everything. That's what the 40 documents are about. So today, yes, Empress Shasha, we are danger, that's for sure. And the definition of danger, for those who may have missed that portion of the pre-meeting before the recording, danger means dominion. It means the rulers. It means right for ownership. It means all of those things, all of those wonderful things. And that's why you see it in the corner of our screen when we go onto the internet. So with that being stated, we're going to take a look today at a restated 928. But first, let's pull up a 928 that's not been restated, because or 982 that has not been restated, so that it was actually as a 928. This is an internal revenue form. Just a moment. 982 form. So that we can see what this form is about. IRS Form 982, reduction of tax attributes due to discharge of indebtedness. So when persons and people were saying that they could discharge their debt, never once did I hear them speak about this form. Obviously, they didn't know about it. They just thought they could, maybe write something up and sign it or something of that nature, and have the system acknowledge that. But we know that the debt is not our debt, but as the secured creditors. And did you all know that the secured creditors we don't normally speak in a regular, quote unquote, regular bankruptcy case. The secured creditors don't usually say anything. We just let the U.S. District Court, Bankruptcy Court actors act that out, and we just watch, and whatever is done with the property is between actors. The secured creditor speaks when there is no more acting to be done where the debt is concerned. That's when we speak, but we don't just run down the street thinking we're going to a bankruptcy court, because that's not a real bankruptcy court. It's actually a stage for actors. What we do is we write up and restate everything and then say, okay, with this property, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. And these are the rules by which this property is going to be moved around or dealt with, rather. But we've been quiet for many, many, many years from our perspective because we didn't know. But ignorance of the law is no excuse. So subsequently, and I'm using that word on purpose, subsequently, some were dealing with evictions and things of that nature, all kinds of just madness. And we call it madness because it is insanity. Being the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce, how is it that evictions, quote unquote, enactments were happening against the people? It was because of ignorance. And that was every test we ever had. We did the test, and fortunately the ancestors protected our lives and kept us safe during those tests, and we got to see the actors act that out, what that looks like. It seemed like it was real to us because we were acting at the time too, acting like we weren't the gods, acting like we weren't the lords for the land and all of that. So this IRS Form 982, it says, use when you receive Form 1099-C cancellation of debt. Remember that? And the debt is excluded from income under Internal Revenue Code Section 108. Now, we have to do this for the debtors because they can't do it themselves. They don't have any control over the debt. If they did, they would have excused themselves a long time ago. But since they can't do it, we have to do it. Now, we've already shown the 1099 cancellation of debt process. Now, the 1099 cancellation of debt process, a 1099 is a creditor's ability to cancel debt, not a debtor. That's why they couldn't. That's why the debt never went anywhere, because they couldn't cancel it at all, ever. We have to do it because we're the creditors. Because the creditors ultimately get to say what happened with the resources and with the debt. Okay. So then it says insolvency exclusion. If your total liabilities exceeded your total assets, immediately before the cancellation, you may exclude the debt to the extent of insolvency. So what we would do with this 982 affidavit is, and we'll show you what we've done regarding the entirety of the debt, the entirety of it.
Islam, Grand Rising.
Islam Empress, Grand Rising.
Annajel Hakbade, Canaan Territory. Could you
Islam.
speak to this for us and perhaps do a little bit of translation? What does insolvency exclusion mean, Islam?
Insolvency exclusion is the state of the stateless ones, or the state of the ones that we're talking about, that we created actually. The total debt that they owe exceeds the total, like, you know, they were saying they own houses and all of this other stuff, which they don't own any of that. So the total assets immediately before cancellation may exclude the debt to the extent of insolvency. So insolvency exclusion is, the best way to state that is that they can cancel that when the 1099, if you cancel the debt before insolvency was declared, because they're insolvent from top to bottom, really. Do you need it open, Justice Anthony?
No, my choosing. I was about to say that it would be the same thing, like as the salvage title process that you had mentioned before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We had to put those things on the record, Chief Justice Anthony, before we dealt with any outstanding debt. So there's debt associated with the assets, and then there's also debt that is outside of the assets, which is like derivatives and things like that. Property is one kind of debt, Empress Annajel, and financial instruments is a different kind of debt. Okay, so I want to make sure Islam Empress.
So what I'm hearing you state is that the debtors have debt.
Yes.
And what they stated as assets, which was still debt. So the debtors have obligations based on the debt, and and the debts that they had as assets, not assets, the debts that they have, both of them is on the minus side of the column. That's what I'm hearing. They have debt and then debt again. Is that correct?
That's where I was going with this. They have what they like, the houses and the cars and the things that they can touch. That is a separate kind of debt from financial instruments, like it is all debt, but they were considering that the houses and things like that are good debt.
Yes.
And that all of that paper was bad debt, or any debt that would cause them to lose the house and the car was negative debt.
Yes.
Okay. And so insolvency exclusion, and I have so many things running through my head right now. The best way to state that is They could have done a 1099-C debt cancellation, like a corporation could do a debt cancellation for someone. But when you do a 982, any debt that was previously canceled is outside of the 982 for them. Does that make sense? That's what the exclusion is, the insolvency exclusion is. So
any debt that was previously canceled is outside of that.
Is outside of the 982. It's still debt, and whatever corporation canceled the debt, they can claim that debt and then write it off. But the person, whoever it was, the person that said, I can't pay this debt, you're going to have to, it has to be canceled either by a court. Well, of course, it has to be canceled by actors that were acting as courts. Once that debt is canceled by those acting as courts or corporations, then the person would not be, the individual would not be liable for that debt, but then the individual was still insolvent because they don't have any debt notes to pay any more debt. And let's say they file bankruptcy. Then the debt that was canceled is outside of the 982 for that reason.
Okay. So I have one question. Thank you. That's a lot. I appreciate taking your time to walk us through it. I know it will settle in us and it will click because we've just gone through the cancellation process, right? So we do know about this because we've been doing it. This is what we've been doing. So the debt that is outside, what happens to that debt that's outside of this particular process, which is the 982?
That's a great question. It has to be dealt with by the government, which is us. We still have to, because we're the creditors, and they can't do anything with it. We have to deal with it. We have to cancel it. We already did that though with that overarching 1099-C cancellation that we did. We did one for the for the people who were claiming to be U.S. citizens, because they can't pay it anyway. We're the creditors, but that also means that everything that was included in that, it would actually be kind of considered private debt. The 1099-C is private debt. The 982 is public debt. Islam, Empress.
I'm reading this and I'm seeing the chapter 11 down there when it says bankruptcy, and knowing that chapter 7 would kind of absolve someone, but usually in chapter 11 or 13 you would have to pay a portion of that back in the former, system, right? But okay. Now,
but with chapter 11, you continue to work even after that. With chapter 11,
exactly, you would still have an obligation.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in what we're doing right now, it's going to be handed over to a public debt that we would, like you were saying, we would discharge. But if that person had property, say for instance that person had property, they would still be able to remain or retain that property, but only because we said so. Is that kind of how we're doing?
Empress and Hobby, did you just cheat and look at my notes and stuff?
No.
Okay, but that's what's in there. That's what's in there, Empress Nabi. Yes. So all this is saying is that, and you'll see it here at right here at number 3. The creditors to all property have first right to access and to possess by diversity payment or other at a value deemed fair by law. That's what it says here.
Islam.
Okay. Islam, Empress.
Where are you reading from? I'm seeing the form in front of me, but I'm not seeing what you just read.
What I just read is right here at number 3. You see number 3 here, Empress Shaka?
I see it. If you could blow it up, please.
I will do that. Yes,
I do
indeed.
see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number
Wonderful.
3 here, it says the creditors to all property have first right to access and to possess by diversity payment or other at a value deemed fair by law, and we're the law. So we our state we would pay more than just a minimal amount just because our estate is worth so much.
Right. Islam, thank you.
And that's why people were excited that the Moors, whenever we're speaking and governing, they're always excited because everything is worth so much more when we speak, because we know how valuable our estate really is. So we did this. Now, this is in capital letters in black ink. This United States Corporation Company and all agents, principals, heirs, and signs, and all derivatives thereof. This is the troupe of actors who initiated all the debt. And I can't even say they initiated because we were still in charge even then. This is going to, so all of those that were previously acting as fake judges and fake this and fake that, they were our employees. But being an employee for the Moors does not mean that you are sovereign. It means you were acting like that, but you're not sovereign. You're just acting like it. And so what we're doing is discharging all of that debt because the people are, they're tired of the debt. And but what we also are doing, and we'll show you this in here, is, and this is for this Congress to think about and to decide. It is our job to put the information forth, and then the Congress will say yay or nay. We all say that together. So this discharge of indebtedness in a Title 11 case, that it includes that. This and again, Title 11 is what we've been looking at, where when we put a lien on somebody and it looks like they're continuing to work, albeit in the most bare form, but it looks like they're continuing to try and do things beyond their indebtedness. Okay, so when we first started putting liens out there, we saw things slow, but we didn't see anything stop. That's because people still had to eat. Even the actors still had to eat. And there are some of our loved ones, many of our loved ones, who think that that's real. They still had to eat. They still felt like they had to go to work and do these things, which they do. If they, if that's what they're feeling, that's what they have to do. Discharge of indebtedness to the extent insolvent. That's what we just read initially. Work continues under creditor authority until notified to stop by the creditor. And so when we did the 9-10 freeze, the 8-10 freezes, that is the process to notify them that they can sit on down. It's enough. But we have to decide which processes or services, and I'm saying services, but which work we want to keep on the land, and which work we're saying we don't need any more of that. We got it. We got that. We don't need that. We never needed it, or we have too many of these and not enough of these. So all that we've been doing, the 8-10 freeze, the 8-11, starting it up with gold and silver, all of that was in preparation for this. This document, this 982, writ for execution, what it does is it discharges a debt with basis adjustment. A basis adjustment is the best way to state that is that it's the bottom line of the debt that has to be discharged. So the U.S. which is included in all agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any derivatives thereof, had something like 47 trillion in debt and 6.06 trillion in assets that they were claiming. Okay, they don't have any assets, they were just claiming them with paperwork and stuff until we were as competent as we are now. And some of that debt is, and then there's another, if you take the 47 trillion and you subtract the 6.06 trillion, that's going to give you about 41 trillion in debt that's outstanding, and that's in derivatives and things like that. Okay, that is what we're doing now is we've canceled the debt on the property, 6.06 trillion. We canceled that, and now now what we're doing is adjusting the Treasury record. And when I say the Treasury record, we restated all of that. So our record can start at 0 in terms of, you know, debts and things like that, which, again, we don't have debts, but the way that we write things up, when money is moved from one place to another, we consider that right there a debit, not a debt, but a debit, a debit. That means they took a bit off of the whole. Okay, so we don't call it debt, we call it debit, which really is just moving credit from one place to another. When we pay someone, that's a credit to us because the entry is a go back entry. But then when we pay it to somebody else, that's giving them a go back entry and some value to put on their books. Okay, so this Congress, it says total amount of discharge indebtedness excluded from gross income. Remember, income is taxed. And who is the tax tribute owed to?
The Moors.
Yes. So we have discharged indebtedness to the extent solvent. Now we have a 0 balance on the books, and all of the companies, all the go-back companies can start paying taxes on their gross income. The difference between gross and net. Corporations are taxed. People are not taxed.
Islam Empress.
Islam nobility.
Do we use this include this document with the 1099A?
You can, yes, it goes with, let me tell you which documents it goes with. It goes with the 1099A, the 1099C. You can use it with any process that you're doing, by the way. Let me grab my paperwork. Here it is. So it will go to bring property and assets and things like that to us. A 1099 acquisition, a 1096, which is just a transcript of the movement of the money, a 1040V, and a 1099 OID. And again, a 1099C as well, nobility, just so that they know that the debt is canceled. So if you were to go and get a piece of property or an automobile or something of that nature, you would cancel the debt before you get there. So that's what the 1099-C is, and then you would do a 1099-A acquisition. That way you can acquire whatever it is, and then this document right here is just going to go on the public record so that everyone knows that the debt is being discharged as we do this process.
Okay, Empress. Gratitude.
Islam. Here, amount excluded is due to, and then we had to check a box, everything that's applicable. Discharge of indebtedness in a Title 11 case. Now, we have put all of our offices under a title. When I say all of our offices, I don't mean our high court and all of that, our superior courts and stuff. Is not that those are not offices that have to do with money going back and forth. Okay, right now what we're dealing with is the things we see on an everyday basis: domiciles, conveyances, business things that we're doing at Commerce and all that. That is the lowest level of exchange. Okay, but we don't have to worry about abandoning our first estate in order to do the things that we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is just, again, cleaning up the mess that was made by actors. And we allowed them to do that. Discharge of indebtedness to the extent solvent, discharge of qualified farm indebtedness, discharge of qualified real property business indebtedness, discharge of qualified principal residence indebtedness, total amount of discharge indebtedness excluded from gross income to the extent insolvent. The creditors, we read that already. And then it says here, part 2, this is a file, because it's already been done, really. This is a file secure creditor court action, notification, and instrument according to law. And then we just did any of the types of debt to the extent insolvent for the most part. It says that you elect under, and we're not under anything, so we change and move all of that stuff. Islam nobility. Justice.
How are you?
All is well, thank you, nobility.
Nice. So I'm a little slow learner and want you to bring it home for me. So let's say I have $10,000 credit card debt. Can you simplify the process for me using the method that you're here suggesting? What would be like step 1, 2, 3 to cancel or delete or zero that debt?
So the first step is to minimize and eventually eliminate the use of debt notes altogether, those green things. So as often as you can, use instruments instead of those green things. Cards, swiping things, use that instead of the green bonds. Okay, that's number 1. As often as you can. If you can go years without using those green bonds, it's going to be better for you. Number 2, you have to declare your nationality, and that's actually number 1. And then know the lien process, because that's the process that you're going to use on those acting as credit card company and those acting as named consumer goods places. So once you do a lien, a levy, and a bond, so what you'll do is you'll lien the actors previously acting as credit card company. You'll levy the resources and the conveyance method by which the things were obtained. That's what the levy is for. So you would levy that the subjects, the actors acting as credit card companies. You would place a levy on that group of actors, and then you would bond the numbers. So you want to lean the numbers that have the dash, levy, and bond. Okay, and when you bond, issue the bond under with that same set of numbers but no dashes. Okay. And once you do that, then you're absolutely going to have to stand on that documentation, no matter, because they'll send spells and try and cast spells and try and keep sending things, but you must stand on your documentation. You have to. Now, standing on your documentation means knowing that if you are speaking to anybody on the phone about it or whatever, that you're doing court action at all times. If you're speaking to them in writing, you do court action at all times, because you have to establish in your own mind, because they already know who you are, you have to establish in your mind that this is not just an individual action, this is a court action by the government on that debt. It's not about the people that you're talking to on the phone, it's the persons that you're talking to on the phone, it's not even about them. This is about the real government, the living government, saying, we don't have any debt. The debt belongs to the corporation. Okay? That's what we're dealing with right now on the screen.
That's been dangerous.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes. We must always establish our rulership over and our ownership over all things by court action. So those are the steps. Okay.
So you're saying that so let me see if I get it now. So like the credit card company's Capital One, for instance, I would be register mailing them these documents to them. That's what you're saying, and not necessarily to the court or anything.
So when you say registered mail, how do you do your registered mail? How does that work for you?
Most time I just do their thing. Like they have they charge you 16 Canadian dollars to send it, so I just use that to keep a record of what I sent to them.
Okay, so you have to not do that. Because, see, if you're using fiat to send it, they're going to know you're not the government, because the government doesn't pay to send things. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If they get something and it's got a fiat, if this got a fiat stamp on it and fiat notes that were used to send it, they're like, this is an imposter. That's not the government, because the government doesn't have to pay to send things.
The thing about it, sometimes they give us the same one that we use and you can get them free, and I will take them sometime and just attach them to it, but it's not stamped and thing like that, so they'll tell you it's a possibility that it may be returned. I don't know, but I've gotten through stuff like that without paying by just asking them for some of the free stuff. I know I help a guy with that process for his home that they want to foreclose, and he sent a few of those a registered mail with documentation that I help him with, and the lawyer he sent it to the lawyer company, the attorney general, and so on, and they return it, return to sender.
You have to use the government mailing process. You have to use the stamps that this government has designed and put on the record as the way that we do things. Okay. The people have agreed. The people have agreed that that's our system. The stamps and things. And now we have two stamps that we use. One is a treasury stamp, and the other is for everything else.
No.
And my treasury documents got to where they were going.
But I see you use some green stuff in Canada. Ours is like for registered mail is red. So how you come by yours? Did you make them yourself? Did you get them from the post office?
That's a free something that you just go in and take. It's prepaid by our post office trust.
But those aren't available in Canada, so I'm saying.
The ones in Canada, it will work with the ones in Canada. Whatever it is, whatever they have there to send certified things that you can just pick up and use, it'll work with that.
Islam, the green ones, the green ones that Justice Will is referring to, they are the ones in the United States.
Yeah. So, and I'm saying the ones that are red that he's talking about, those will work with it too.
Yeah,
it will work earth-wide.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
So okay, so I would use my red ones along with something that you have as well. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that the government it's a government stamp that we use earth-wide.
Where do I get those?
They are under the post office video. If someone could give him the link to that video, it's the post office lien, levy, and bond video. It's about 45-minute video or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Islam,
Empress Karima.
Islam, Empress, Islam, Congress. While we talk about the stamps, Empress, can I ask you a question about the Treasury stamp that was just created and presented to Congress? I was trying to create it myself. And I used Avery. To print our stamps, the G10 ones, but it appears that the G04 ones are a different size. Can you tell me what method you use to print the stamp? Do you use Avery or some other company to create the address label? Okay. Do you know what size it is?
I actually create them on a like a WordPad document. Some people have WordPad document. I create them there, and then whatever Avery I'm using, because I use any of Avery, any of the sizes, because all I do is put it on there, print it out, and then put the paper behind the Avery stamp to make sure it lines up before I print it on the Avery thing. So it doesn't. I mean, I use different sizes. Right now I'm using 5161, but before I was using, I think 5084 or something like that. But no matter what size I use, I just line it up before I print it out. I line it up, make sure it lines up.
I didn't yield the floor, and I was interrupted.
Okay.
So.
We apologize. I thought we were finished.
Yeah, I wasn't finished, but it's okay. So, you know what would be good if there are, I don't know how many of the 45 people you have here are in Canada. Why don't we link up together and help each other in these processes? I try to get in touch with Anna Jeff. Sometimes she doesn't answer her phone, and after one call, I don't bother. But it would be good for us to link heads together and two heads is always better than one. I would appreciate if we can combine our efforts together. If you're in Canada, we could from time to time communicate with each other. That's how we grow. That's how we help each other. The weak help the strong.
And you can find out that the shit don't work in Canada either.
You laugh. Yeah, so anybody here in Canada, from Canada? Can you ask? Apart from Anajel, who don't answer my call or don't return my missed call, I'm showing words for her deliberate intentionally.
Okay. Let me just say this. If you are at Canaan Land Territory and you will to link up with Justice Willie, if you would all put your emails into the chat for each other, you can inbox each other specifically for that.
All right. Thank you very much. I yield the floor.
Islam. Thank you, nobility. Empress.
Islam Empress.
Let me Empress Karima had the floor after Justice Willie.
Sure.
And then we'll Justice Anthony, please make your statement after Empress Karima. Empress Karima, are you there? Empress Karima. Let me see. Just a moment. I do not see Empress Karima. I don't see Empress Karima. Let me open. Okay. Hopefully we will hear from Empress Karima again. She was asking about the stamp. Chief Justice Anthony.
Yes, Empress. In regards to the stamps, you had mentioned there was two stamps, one for like a personal and one for like a business.
It's not a personal stamp. It's just a regular government stamp where you're sending affidavits and court rulings and things of that nature. And then there's one specifically for Treasury documents.
Okay, this is new to me. I've just learned this. The one, I have one here that you have demonstrated on the video. That's the one that I'm prepared to use. Now, also, if you don't have access to the Avery to print it on there, is it possible you could like type it on a clean document, then you cut it, after you print it, then you cut it out and paste it onto your envelope?
You can do whatever works for you, whatever works for you.
Okay, great. And the one that you had shown on the video, that's the one for the Treasury, or is that one the other one?
That's the one for the Treasury.
One for the Treasury?
The one that I showed in the most recent Congress, I believe it was maybe 2 weeks ago or 2 strongs ago. We showed the Treasury stamp.
Okay, could you use that same stamps for like for example, like if you CC other documents, you could use that same stamp for that purpose also?
What do you mean?
Like for example, if you're sending a document to the Treasury, then you want to send a copy to the recorder of deeds and so forth. Could you use that same stamp to the rest of these places?
If it's a Treasury instrument, you should.
Okay, Empress.
When we send to our subject, the offices that are subject to us, such as the Treasury and all of that, yeah. Or the internal revenue office or any of that, yeah. If it has a Treasury instrument in it, then use that stamp.
Great. That was new to me. I've just learned this. Appreciate it, Empress. Gratitude.
We're moving quickly and Islam. Empress Karima, is that you?
Yes, it is. I apologize for that, Empress, and for cutting your wisdom just now. I thought you were done. Can you finish, and then I'll state my question.
I'm finished.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear your response to my question because my computer froze and the sound went out as well. Can you tell me what size stamp the G04 is, or what size it is?
It is the same as It's Empress Karima, I muted your phone because there's a huge echo coming from it. The Treasury stamp is just about the same size as the stamps that we were using previously. It may be a little smaller. Might be just a little smaller.
I'm muted. Islam, the Empress.
You're welcome, Empress.
You're welcome.
And great to hear your voice, by the way, Empress Karima. Great to hear your voice, Islam. Chief Justice Angel.
Yes, thank you. Okay, back to this affidavit that we have here, Writ for execution. Can we continue down the document, please, so I can continue my screenshots, so I may go and restate this for myself.
This one that's on the screen is coming from the Congress, the whole Congress. But you know, for those who would like to have a copy of it or something like that, if you'll screenshot and then create yours to look exactly like what we have here, you can, then you'll have it and you'll have an original and all of that.
That's what I will to do. So,
yeah.
Is there a bottom portion of this page? And is it just one page?
It's just one page.
Okay, so I got up to here. Is there anything after this? Okay, so the 11.
Let's see.
There we go.
There is other things after that. It says original creditor has adjusted the basis for all property by law to the extent that the debtor was insolvent. This also falls in this also is stated in alignment with the knowledge of the Central Solvency Office at Philadelphia for all this. See, I just love our ancestors. They know exactly what they're doing through each and every one of us. The Central Insolvency Office, or the Central Solvency Office rather, what we were that is the office that we were to speak back in terms of the bankruptcy. That's the office that, you know, where we were to send out, we can send out checks to make things solvent, and we can respond to bankruptcy, not respond, but make our statements as the secured creditor to bankruptcies that have happened and all of that. So at this point, everything is back right side up, okay? And we can start sending out, and now we even have our treasury stamp that is working beautifully through the parcel service, parcel post, to get the checks out and things of that nature. You know, if we choose to do that, we can send diversity payments for things. But we're looking at things both from a major standpoint and also from our own sovereign individual, and individual is probably not the right word. Our personal is the right word. Our personal lives and the things that are happening with our personal lives. So, for example,
can you go back up to 11? I'm missing portion 11.
Will you be posting this publicly?
It's being posted publicly as we speak.
What I mean, on your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if it will go up there, let me preface by that, because our most recent Congress, I kept trying to get it to go so I could edit it and get it to play so that I could put it up, and none of that happened. It froze. So I'm thinking that the ancestors are saying hold off on putting that on the public record first, because it was about diversity payments. It was introducing diversity payments. And then we come back this week and some of us are getting the affirmation that, the affirmation that we're currently ruling everything. That's what danger means. It means dominion. And so
is the bottom portion, can you get to the part 3, please?
Yes, I can do that. That's and then below that we just have our autograph and stamps and seals and things of that nature in blue. We're gonna restate a little bit more of this language also, because a little bit of it is still, you know, there's a word or two here and there that does not agree with our you know, in our spirit, we don't feel comfortable doing that. But just so that you all are aware, this discharge of debt starts in 1776 and ends in 2026. That means anything after, actually it was after way a little while back, is not debt. It has everything to do with gold and gold-backed and gold and delarium, you know, gold receipts and all of that. All the work that we're doing right now is nominated in delarium, gold, and silver, and we're actually dealing with the subjects on that, and it's coming out just great. It says here, under creditor authority, the corporation consents to have the basis for property previously claimed adjusted according to law and legal mandate created by the creditor for each income tax return for each year by the debtor. The debtor was previously organized under the laws for the United States for America. That's the difference between us and the debtors. And the United States for America, again, is a special purpose vehicle. It's a financial vehicle so that we can remedy the bankruptcy and the debt and all of that and clean and clear our land. And again, our land never had any debt on it. It was encapsulated in a financial instrument, and all we're doing now is clearing up the mess that was in that financial instrument. Our land is safe, solid, secure, creditor, you know, gold, silver, real estate, and all of that. Our land was never even touched by the debt. The debt is, it was a special purpose vehicle, financial vehicle.
Islam. I'm so happy you stated that portion right there and made the distinct distinction between the two concerning the special purpose vehicle that the United States of America is for and how it's purposed and functioning, because some people just don't understand the operation that the Moor must govern, and can't nobody else do it otherwise. And so in order to get rid of a thing, something must be there to put in its place that is a living thing, to remove the dead thing. Until the dead thing is completely removed, then the living thing can flourish and then go and be what it is intended to be, which is giving all the resources back to the originally indigenous sovereign living Moor. Yeah. And then the United States for America wouldn't necessarily disappear, from my understanding. It would just go into another function. It would function at another purpose and another reason. It wouldn't be for what it is now. It would transform to something else. Because, listen, watching Goku, when you destroy a thing, something must be rebuilt and be born again. So even though you destroy something, and I don't mean that for negative terms, destroy means, okay, I take something, and we did the abortion, and we voted on abortion before, and the term abort. We said it's not to kill a thing, it's to change a thing and such. So when we are aborting this United States of America, we bring life to America, United States for America, until it served its purpose, then it can be reborn into something else that is served the purpose for the people. Islam.
Yes, Islam. Thank you, Empress Angel. Chief Justice Angel, what we're seeing for our subjects on the land, because see, you know, we've been watching some of the others out there who they just want the modern Europeans gone from the land, and we are not of that persuasion. We are not of that persuasion. What we will and have made it so is that those who came here, because see, every one of them, their grandparents are the ones, grandparents and great-grandparents are the ones who came here. and you know, however far back, and some of them even go back 6 or 7 generations, that's a long time for them. You know, for us, we're forever, and ours goes back since time immemorial. If I keep looking behind me, I'm just gonna keep seeing matriarchs giving birth to the heirs and to the sovereigns, and just keep giving birth all the way back and back and back, millions and trillions of years. And when I look forward, I see the same thing. But for them it was, and this is not an ego statement, and it's not putting them down. It's a 7 generations is the maximum that any of them have been here. And that's and how do we know that? Because we're the ones who said you can come. And when we look back at our history, after 7 generations, they have to start, if they're going to continue to exist, they have to start finding our sons and having babies with our sons, or with some of the matriarchs have chosen that as well, and we're not mad at that. If they're going to continue as a species, they have to mix and mingle with us, because we're the eternal cellular ethos. So what's happening now is that 7 generations is up, it's finished, it's done. And so this is also a part of the reset. You know, they talked about a great reset where all the debt is going to go away, it's going to be jubilee and la 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 la. This is it. This is it right here. So for individual debt, a 1099 cancellation. And then for public debt and all of that, this. And this is what I'm seeing. What I am seeing is that there are some people who don't realize that the debt has been done away with. So it has been their journey to keep trying to fight that until they wake up to the information and their status on the land. And that could be subject to
why haven't you gotten a conveyance yet or more? Service?
Islam Empress, could you repeat that, please?
What I'm saying is that
about the 1099 purpose?
Yes, the 1099. The 1099 is for each of us to cancel debt in and around us. So, for example, there may be if you're going to get a conveyance, you're canceling debt for them, not you, because we don't have.
It hasn't worked for you. It's not going to work for any of you other.
When we're going to get things, we cancel the debt for them. Whoever we're getting something from, we cancel the debt for them. And you see what I'm saying, Justice Anthony?
Yes, I'm listening, Empress.
Okay. And what we're doing is acquiring by way of gold, silver, and Moorish sovereign dollarium, because we're not using anything that has to do with their system, the previous quote unquote system. We're using.
Right, I'm familiar with it.
So once we cancel the debt for that, for example, you would cancel the debt. Let me make sure that I state this correctly. You would cancel the debt for that individual exchange, not the whole dealership, because the rest of the stuff is under this. It's still it's a public offering, but then you have your individual things that you're doing. Okay. So you would cancel it for that individual,
For example, just like an automobile, a conveyance.
Yes.
Just that, and not the entity itself.
And not the whole. You're not going to cancel the debt for the whole dealership. You're going to do it for the subject in the office of dealership. And when I say dealership, I mean as an office. You're going to just do it for that one, exchange.
Right.
Okay. Those doing pretending to be us put a link in the chat. I don't know what that link is for. So I usually just copy it and take a look at it when I have time to take a look at it.
It proves you can't even get a conveyance. You
I don't
can't
even
get cell service. You can't get nothing. Nothing works. Your shit don't work, or else you'd have a conveyance by now. Your shit don't work. You're all gonna get laughed out of the airport in August. Ha 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 ha. Oh, it's gonna be fucking hilarious. Oh, it's just gonna be so funny because your shit don't work, or else you'd already have that conveyance, or you'd already have that cell service. You know, your husband paid full price for the gold standard roof cleaning, and he pays your taxes. Tell him thank you for paying the taxes on your behalf, because he just lets you believe this bullshit. He lets you pretend, because that's all you are. You're little children playing pretend. Oh, by the way, Pauline, you got a nice little red costume on tonight. It's so fucking hilarious.
As we were, Islam.
As we were. So,
I
yes.
guess the truth hurts, doesn't it, you dumb bitch?
Just a moment. Ooh, man. Ooh. Jelly. Ooh. Okay. So, and you know what? If I was them, I would probably be a little worried too.
Islam, Empress?
Islam.
Some kind of way it bounced me out.
Okay, let me.
I don't want. Look, I'll stay on the phone, but I don't want to have them come back in.
It's fine. Come on in.
Okay.
It's unlocked.
All
Come
right.
on in. We'll just bounce them out. They don't move me, not even a little bit. It's just
all
a little
right.
funny.
I'm in. I'm in.
Okay.
Welcome, and thank you for choosing.
Yeah, they don't bother us at all. We just boot them out and keep going.
Dwayne L. just came back in. You can take him out.
Okay, Islam.
Take a what, Negro? Your shit don't work, Negro. Can't wait till August when they laugh at your fucking nigger asses. They all gonna be laughing at you at the airport. Because ain't none of you got no fucking reservations. How come you don't talk about all those reservations you got?
Just a moment. Hear that.
Oh, yes. Look at that. None of you niggas have gotten a conveyance. Your DeLorean is fake. It's never going to work. Your funny money is so full of shit. It's never going to.
Ooh. They adore us. They worship us. They're here without fail. I don't care if the power is out wherever they are. They still gonna find a way to try to be here.
Worshiping.
That's why I'm like, okay. So
you provide hours of laughter because you're so fucking hilarious that you believe this shit. So yes, it's so funny. That's why we're here, because you're so fucking hilarious. Y'all are just so funny to watch that you actually believe any of this shit. That you.
So what we were speaking about is the 1099 cancellation. That's to cancel as we're doing things, as we're acquiring things, we're canceling debt for them, not us, on an individual basis. And then this 982 will cancel it. But see, we have to make it known that the debt is canceled. And we're doing it. We're doing what we can do for that. I'm beginning to wonder if that's even for everybody to know, because some people have a different journey. But I'm just letting the ancestors do what they do best anyway.
which is let you believe in this fantasy land are full of shit.
Listen, every time I hear one of them, I already know we on the right track because they spend too much time trying to convince us that we're not. So,
Islam. Since this is for the corporate United States company, and the corporation, the Treasury is responsible for paying all debts. So
we can pay it or discharge it.
Yes. So would we notify with this document here, as stated earlier, as asked earlier, we would send this or just notify them that it's on the record for this document here?
What does your spirit say?
I say yes. And then I also noticed that there's no signature on this document here.
Right. I have there's no place for it for them because, again, nobody could do this but us, and it must be done on a legal size piece of paper. And what we do is put our own autograph and stamps and seals and stuff at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And it is also, this doesn't generally go by itself. There's other documents that go with it. That's another thing. For us, we've been sending documents all along, so this will just be added to what we sent already for us,
Islam, Empress.
Islam, teacher.
The video that you were speaking of that you were not able to upload, can we get that privately from 2 Strongs ago?
The one from 2 Strongs ago is up already. The one from the most recent Congress, which was this most recent Sunday before this one,
gotcha,
is the one that's not up yet.
Will, to get that privately, can we do
that?
All right.
Sure.
And then, did you know that they have been removing the blue reciprocals?
The blue what?
Reciprocals.
Oh, the mailboxes that are outside the post office?
Mm-hmm.
We don't use them.
Oh, all right.
Why should they be there?
I get it. Islam.
We don't use those. So. Islam.
I'd like to make a statement about the blue receptacles. I went on the USPS website, and you can create an account, and there's a section where you can actually have a subject in the office of post mail person to come and actually pick up your certified mail receipts, or your certified mail, rather. I tried it out. I did it about 2 Strongs ago, and the mail person, they came and picked up my 4 parcels. Yep, and it was.
Well, that makes complete sense.
You're so fucking stupid. You can't even pronounce recept.
It was easy peasy.
Yeah, that's a great. See, that's what I'm saying about everything. Everything is to come to the nobility, and we do what we do with it and send it back out again if we choose to do that. The system is aligning with our will. It's 100% aligning with our will. Empress Karima, thank you so much for that affirmation. So
Islam.
Yeah. That's another beautiful perk of being who we are is, we would restate the application for that because they're going to be coming onto the land, and we put them already on the land, so it's neither here nor there. I mean, yeah. So, are there any other questions about this document and what we're doing with it? We're just going to place it on the public record and send out notification that the actors that we hired to do what they've been doing, the debt is done, but they have to use gold, silver, and more sovereign dollarium to get things done. That is the money now. This is the reset. Okay, and that'll be a transitionary period, but it has to happen because it's the law.
Islam, Chief Justice.
Empress Unniversalle, I heard her first. No, Justice Nate, I heard her say something first, and then you can go. Nobility. Thank you for your honor of that. Empress Unniversalle.
Gratitude, Islam. So gratitude for this, brilliant writ. I'm soaking it in. It's like I'm taking it in because it's showing the many layers of this process and how it all fits together. So that's what's going on. It's integrating for me as I'm taking it in. Empress, will you speak a little bit to diversity claim? I feel the word diversity is. Will you speak a little bit more about that for us as well?
Yes. So a diversity claim, because of the transition of everything to what it should be, our payments are labeled diversity payments according to 28 United States Code 1331. So first, let's just take a quick look at that because that's important to know. And of course, we spell it all the way out. But this is something that the great Chief Taj talked about just repeatedly when we first nationalized. He stated that we had to get our courts active because of the federal question. No one could answer the federal question but us of, is there diversity in what's happening? It says the district court shall have original jurisdiction of all civil actions arising under the Constitution, laws, or treaties of the United States. Now, some people thought that there were, so the Supreme Court, which is us, is about not civil actions, but national actions, the thing that has to do with the nationals and all of that. Civil actions is for the subjects to have, either the subjects or those that work for us, to hash out whatever is going on with them or us. So if we have an issue with, let's say, a company, something like that, like a company, then the treaty says that if there's any conflict between Moors and the subjects, it said, somebody put one out that said citizens, but that we didn't even treat to citizenship until 1956, and we personally didn't do that. So they're subjects. If there's anything going on between the Moors and subjects, then the consul is to decide. Subject companies. So this is always about companies. United States companies. That's where everything is hashed out and started. So whenever we put on our district court turbans, we were dealing with companies and subjects. Okay. Now, when you're talking about, just one moment, let me go back to where we were. But when you're talking about like two sovereigns, then it's the Supreme Court. We do court for each other, with each other, by each other, for each other. So diversity payments are such that let's just say, a company, we may, and I don't think we will, but if there's a more who is not as competent about doing things with companies, like if they sign the company's paperwork and forms and things don't turn out right, then they're supposed to bring it to this. It's a federal question. Is this a federal issue or is it city, state, county? Is this issue governed by the Constitution, the laws, or treaties of this financial instrument called the United States? So what we're preparing for, Empress Unniversalle, and we've already done it really, is to cross the barrier, and I can't call it a barrier because it wasn't a barrier for us, is to go over Jordan onto the other side of Jordan. I'll use the biblical terms, the River Jordan, and govern everything that has to do with finance and all of that. So district courts were for financial purposes anyway. Okay, district courts were issued out of Washington District of Columbia in the previous enactment. But we have taken the reins of that because we have to. Because they're not competent to do it for us when we're standing and being ourselves. So we've taken the reins of the districts, the previous actors previously acting as Washington District of Columbia. We've taken the reins of those processes and we're putting them on the land first and foremost. That's why Constitution, laws, and treaties, that's land, jurisdiction. That means that any of the subjects are on the land, any of the companies are on the land, just by virtue of our actions right now of taking it, control of all of that. So then, if through our courts, because you're asking about diversity payments, if through our courts any payment is due, for example, we talked about this. This is what brought up the diversity payments for us. When we first nationalized, the City of Federal Way actors issued some tickets, and we were not competent as we are now. So we took the tickets and we said, okay, we're going to elevate this because we know that according to what our great Sheik has taught us, that we shouldn't be in these inferior courts. So we elevated the issue to the U.S. District Court at Seattle. Well, in our case, in our cause, and we still have the paperwork and documentation, we said, okay, we think that what City of Federal Way actors did was, first of all, it was not correct because of our status. They should never have stopped us and given us a ticket and all of that stuff. None of that stuff should have happened in their enactment. So we said we think that we should be awarded $100 million or something like that. And we were absolutely correct about that, except if they had awarded us $100 million, it would have been in debt notes and that would have defeated the purpose. So what the diversity payment does is it makes it so that anyone coming to the district courts and they have a status that was mistaken by a company, again, this is about companies, then the court can actually award the Moors or the subject something, because see, there are subjects that are going to be coming and with things about these corporations. They have a different status. One is a company or a corporation, and the other is the subject. They even have to come to district court because this is where things are going to be, paid out to them. But they have to accept gold, silver, and more sovereign dollarium anyway. And more sovereign dollarium is so much easier to move than gold and silver coins, even though more sovereign dollarium is gold receipts. So it's still, they're getting, the awards will be in more sovereign dollarium gold receipts. So we could easily issue a treasury check to whoever wins the case, whoever we rule as the winner, they can receive a treasury check, and then what we'll do is tax that company until they pay it, or we can take the resources from that company and issue them to someone more responsible if it's something egregious, So diversity payments are just payments that we look at the system and we say, okay, where is funding needed by way of the courts? Another thing where diversity payments are concerned is in dealing with the bankruptcies of the companies. Some of the companies, they're going to continue working instead of, they're going to do a Title 11 bankruptcy instead of a Chapter 7 or something, Chapter 9. They're going to do an 11. 11 is they can keep working for us after the bankruptcy. So what we would do is anyone who's in Chapter 11 or who has filed Chapter 11, most likely they're still working, just like the other company that I told you about that brought this to our attention. We would notify the centralized solvency office, and then we would send payments out to whoever is listed on their bankruptcy, and then notify the centralized solvency office that this company is now solvent. They can continue working. If they've been, if they've been doing things responsibly, they can keep working. They just have to be solvent to do so. No one can keep working in a debt status like that. That was our job. We have to clean that up. Islam. Let me make sure that answers Empress Angel's question about diversity payments and the explanation of diversity payments and what they're used for.
Islam, gratitude. That answered a lot of the thoughts I had in this past strong. I did the research on the codes that were presented, and so it was speaking to what the district courts are and the governance of the district courts. Speaking as you presented today about this is a government action, right? So that also was, it's all the jurisdiction questions that I'm asking about. How does this fit within our jurisdiction? How do we,
How come we never see any of your shit on YouTube then, you dumbass?
Go ahead, Empress. Go ahead.
And the turbans that we're wearing, and as we govern the estate, because we started with lien, levies, and bonds, and it has grown as we continue.
You're so fucking full of shit.
And so gratitude, Empress. It feels good. All that spring of new energy. I can feel like that energy just blooming, right? So gratitude. Islam, my yield.
Thank you. Islam. Thank you, Empress. It is great energy. It is great energy, and the ancestors are just widening and expanding the empire with all that we do. And then when it's not money related, and it's something for the Supreme Court, then we just take the
that First Avenue building was bulldozed.
We take off our district court turbans. Now, let me say this about district court. Oof.
You're still driving that same shitty.
So, the subjects, specifically Anna Maria Reisinger, one of our subjects.
Ultima with the Washington.
She was evicted from her house and houses and she's looking for, to them, they want the district court shut down. That's what they're saying to us. They want the district court shut down. The things that they're calling district court wasn't a real district court anyway. We're the real district court. We're the real Supreme Court. We're the real, we're the real all. So they are looking to get their, the subjects are looking to get their houses back and things of that nature. And so they are going to have to come our way for that. And we're just looking at the best way to do that.
No real court meets on free conference calls. Never have, never will.
We're just looking at the way to do that. And when I say do that, Morris, we got the information first, so we should be getting our own stuff first. Just like we stated in the 982. The Moors have first choice.
Like that Land Rover from Mercedes.
Okay. The Moors have first choice at everything. We can't hold everybody else up, but we have to do our stuff first. Okay.
You didn't get that cell service or that.
Then we can start.
You have failed so many times, Pauline. Why can't you accept it?
Then we can start issuing property to others. Okay? No sense in us trying to help somebody and we haven't helped ourselves first.
It's I affirm. And where I am on the timeline, I feel like I'm laying down foundation. Like, it's like I got to put that in place. I'm like, oh yes, yeah, Islam. I affirm.
Yeah, Islam, indeed. We have time. We all have time. We're just taking it one step at a time. It's been 9 years. We're taking it one step at a time, and the ancestors are just affirming as we take our steps and do the things that are necessary to govern this vast estate that just keeps growing every day. Every time there's an earthquake or a volcano, it's just putting more land out on the land, and the land starts to shift to make room for that jurisdiction to, for our jurisdiction to manifest. So our estate is growing and growing and growing and growing and growing every day. And so we have to be, we're prepared to govern. We're fit to govern. Islam. Anyone else? Islam, Empress.
Noble May has something to say after Empress Unniversalle.
Yes. Islam. Chief Justice Pauline.
Islam. I just wanted to share the good news. They publicly and the Treasury publicly announced that the United States is insolvent.
You fucking pay rent, you dumbass.
Yeah, they just publicly announced.
Nathaniel, tell everybody how you.
Just a moment. Okay, go ahead, Nobility.
Yeah, they publicly announced that the United States is
insolvent. You fucking asshole. Come on, tell
you don't
me
want
how you
nobody
pay
to
rent.
hear it. That box doesn't want anybody to hear it. Go say it one more time, Nobility.
Yeah, the Treasury announced that the United States is insolvent.
Laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yeah, they really don't want to hear this one. It's good news. It's great news for us. Because the prophet said, watch the government come to a screeching halt, and it starts up in the hands of the Moors. Right now, it's starting up. Right now, you presenting that today. So Islam.
Negro, please.
Islam. Yes.
Publicly, United States is insolvent.
Well,
they
United
said it
States
publicly.
of America, specifically.
That's it. Islam.
And you mentioned the United States on the Treasury checks, and Nathaniel mentioned something. He said, has there been any changes to it? And can you remind us what the Treasury checks look like?
I don't have one that I can show right now. But here's what I will show. Let's take a look here. They look something like this right here, like any one of these right here. They look similar, except for with our treasury checks, the stuff is not facing the left; it's facing the right. And our statute for liberty looks a little different from this. It's got color. She has color. She's an empress. Looks very similar, but has color. And you know, it doesn't have these electronic things. I'll have one probably for you in one of the upcoming congresses. I'll show you what they look like. They look very similar to this. It's just a restated version of this, except everything is going to the right instead of to the left.
All righty. That looks like it's just a money order, too. It has similar things to a money order.
And I've shown you ours. They all look like this. This is how you know that it's not been a living being signing them, because look at this signature. It's the same on every one of them.
Yeah.
So USA closed your bank account, so that's why you're getting checks for your VA disability, because you.
That hater ring is funny. Islam nobility.
Shalom.
Shalom.
How you doing, Empress?
All is well.
This is Joe, baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm just so excited about. I'm so excited about you, Empress. Ever since I met you, can I read a scripture?
Sad because she doesn't have her conveyance or cell service.
Just a moment. Go ahead.
Can I read a scripture? This is found in Daniel, the second chapter, and I believe this is what's going on right now. If anyone want to argue with God, I'm gonna read this from. They can argue with this right here. Daniel, the second chapter, verses 44 and 45. And in the day of those kings shall the God of heaven. Now you can argue with God about this. I'm not talking about the empress. in the days of those kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which should never be destroyed, and the kingdom should not be left to other people.
You ain't God, or you would have gotten a conveyance.
But it should be broken in pieces and consumed, and all the kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Verse 44. So as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it breaketh without hands, and that it breaketh in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, the gold. The great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. And so everything that I hear the Moors saying, how everything is going to be taken and given to another,
yes,
while this civilization is still here, while it's still here, not one of these days, but while this civilization is still here, the scripture says that the God of heaven shall do this.
Yes.
It says that the God of heaven, it said the God of heaven should do this himself. And I don't care, you can argue with all you want to about it's written. And the scripture says it is sure and it shall come to pass.
Yes.
And so when I hear you keep talking about loving the other people who try to hurt you and throw rocks at you, and so much you take on the spirit of the Christ. that you keep saying, turning the other cheek. We're not at war. And so it just got to me, I've been listening to you a few years, that it appears that your word hadn't changed, that you say what you mean what you say you're going to do something, you do it. And you know, I know not all Moors do that. They'll say one thing, just say something, then do something different. But you have kept your word, and you say we don't hate anybody. And that's good, because if there's any justice coming to anyone, then whatever it is, that's going to come to someone else. I don't have to hate anybody. I don't hate white people or anybody else. I hate certain conditions and certain mentalities and so forth like that. But you know, I have no reason to be angry. You know, I mean, what I'm saying. What's going to happen if I do what I'm going to do? Then whether we believe God or whether karma is going to just take care of themselves. Yeah. And you say we don't have to argue with people. We don't have to argue. And so this scripture is written. You can argue with the Bible all you want to. You can't stop God's word.
Yes.
Daniel had a dream. He said Daniel had a dream. He talks about every civilization, the rise of that civilization and the fall of that civilization. And we see that happen right now. And that's it.
Thank
and
you,
it's final. You can argue all you want to. And that's the end of that. We're going to let whoever wants to argue with God. We don't have time to argue with people. Let them argue with God's word. Now, dispute God's word. Prove God's word wrong. Okay, I'm through. That's it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it's great to hear your voice, Nobility, and thank you for being here.
Well, I mean, you
appreciate your energy as well.
You excite me so much because you just continue to say. And I know sometimes people get on our nerve, but the scripture says just hold your peace. Hold your peace. Yeah. God said, I'll fight for you. He says, if there's any fighting to do, he says, I'll fight for you. If there's any fighting necessary, he said, I'll do that. I'll do that. And so you're right. Just keep that attitude towards and when I started listening to you, I talked with a couple of Moors down there. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and they gave the impression that I couldn't be a part of the Moorish empire because I'm a preacher or whatever, and I know we don't. So I thought anybody could be associated, because I know there's so the Moors are doing things that no other group is talking about it. That may not be the best word, but nobody else is talking about it. The power being given to them, and they're being able to come in and move forward, because there's no way you can go past a prophecy. Yeah. Not sure prophecy, unless you change your ways. They did a vote last week in the United Nations, and these people wouldn't even acknowledge that there's been a crime against humanity. And so you can't change the heart of people. So it's no need to argue with people. There's no need. You can't change the hearts of people. So you keep that attitude. I appreciate. Thank you. I yield.
Islam. Thank you, Nobility. We appreciate your energy.
Shalom.
Indeed. Shalom, indeed.
Islam Empress.
Thank you so much for that. Islam Empress.
Yeah.
In just looking at some of this, and maybe I'm moving a little bit, at light speed. But, I was thinking about the writ of execution, or being able to utilize either the U.S., like I'm thinking like I saw, and heard about with the ancestors, being able to utilize the U.S. Marshal for execution and acquisition when we have to change over property or assets. Being able to send those writs to either the U.S. Marshals, or I would say the U.S. Marshals or the Navy, quote unquote, because of the treaties that have to do with them, or the subjects in the office of sheriffs is another one. But being able to send the writs to them and be able to utilize them to be able to enforce the acquisition of the property and put in the proper hands.
So, Empress, that's a good way to look at that process. What I will state that, just a moment, I think there's someone whose line is open. Let's find out who that is. From our perspective, yes, U.S. Marshal, United States Marshals and things of that nature. Yes. All of that military security and all of that, that's great. But there's not even going to be anybody there when you get there. Like if you're going to a domicile, the chances of somebody being there by the time you get through with all this documentation, either they're not going to be there or they're already going to be packed up saying you can have it because they can't afford it anyway.
Islam, I affirm that because Noble Nate and I, since 2023, we've been looking for domiciles and such on different various websites like Redfin.
And you still haven't gotten a single one. It's not going to work. Never will.
Go ahead.
And when we looked as of late, since like January, February, the amount of listings is astronomical. And they are abundant everywhere you look. You can't go on a map and not see a listing. It's impossible. And there's going to be a lot more. As soon as it's going to be all you do when you open up a listing, like that one of those platforms, all you're going to see is the sea of red, like if you're looking on Redfin. And a sea of blue or whatever if you look on any other sites. And I'm like, yeah. And I don't know if everyone noticed, but here at Land of Nod, New York, they were making their suggestions and whatever, saying how the lines were so long to get on an airplane at LaGuardia and JFK that it was going all the way down to the parking garage and down the parking structures of people waiting to go through the TSA to get on a plane to get gone. And when you look at the amount of houses and buildings and structures that are on listing, it matches.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I stated that that the subjects can stay here because, there's plenty here. We just have to go ahead and make sure that we're doing things the way we should. And not only that, if you go to a domicile and domicile needs some work done, you have to know how to do that and not yield your status. That's what we're doing now, is getting things done and being ourselves at the same time. And then you start talking about whole buildings being built and things of that nature, that process, and all of that. So the subject can stay because I know that the majority of you're not really in love with cleaning toilets and things like that either. So those who will to do that can do it, because there are some more who just, that's all they want to do is just janitorial work. Okay, fine, they can do that. And then for the places where they're not doing that, we'll have subjects to it. It's fine. It's fine. Islam, Empress.
Islam. So I have a question with regards to subjects that must be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the process in those instances. And I've not, there are instances from my perspective where certain 1 or 2 or 5 subjects must be gone. So the process would
working. Where do you know where they work? Because they should all be working.
I know where they claim to own certain things.
So Empress, that's a test for you. They know they don't own anything, and you know they don't own anything. It's just that they're trying to invoke emotion from you and energy from you that they don't deserve.
No. And this is not an emotional thing.
Okay. So it might not be emotional for you, but it might be emotional for them.
And that's not my business.
What?
But
Yeah. What have they done that makes you want them gone?
Murder.
Okay.
And attempted also. I know this is not emotional. This is not emotional. This is justice.
Okay, so have you issued the ruling for them to be deported?
Okay, I have not got that far, but thank you for reminding me that is what I must issue, and then I have to do some research as to the law and to support that. But yes, I love everybody. I absolutely do. But there are certain instances where the law is the law, truth is truth, and no, you can't be here anymore.
Well, you're the Lord for the land.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. I just, I will to ask that to get something straight with me, and I overstand completely with what we are doing. No, it is not required for everybody to have to get up and go. But there are certain instances that I'm personally familiar with, of course, and other instances, and justice, that would be the justice.
Okay, so if I might add a little bit of shed a little bit of light onto that process, because it's a process. It's not about persons. It's really the process.
No, I get that. I recognize. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the process for deportation is going to include them being arrested and put on a plane back to wherever they're coming from, put on a plane. So that's going to assist you in your travels as well, because you'll know how to do that part.
Islam.
They have to be put on a plane, and you have to arrange that. And then even when they get where they're going, you can't just drop them off and let nothing and just leave them in the wild. You actually have to send them with provisions for a certain amount of time until they can acclimate to that area. So you still got to kind of like protect and take care of them, kind of, sort of, until they get there.
You mean I have to put a diaper on them too?
You have to put a diaper on them. You got to powder their butt and everything.
What the absolute fuck? Excuse my French.
Yeah. Yes. Government cannot just, because see, there's a receiving government wherever they're going. It's a moorishe government, a receiving government.
Of course, yes.
And we don't just dump our stuff over on them and not, we have to respect their land and their territory and all of that too.
Exactly. I don't know where this comes from, to be honest, but whatever. Okay.
Well, you still have some emotion connected to that event, and we get that. We understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, this is not personal. This is justice.
Yeah.
There's a handful. So, okay. Well, let me focus on myself for the moment, but that is absolutely in the plans.
You literally have to remove that remaining emotion from the process and look at the process, and then do the process.
Yeah, it's all process, my darling. It's all process.
Also, Empress, let's say, for example, they worked at a hospital. You would have to think about whether you want to 810 the hospital.
Yes, carry on.
You also have to think about the people around you. Now, you could 810 the hospital and then 811 it as it should be, not a corporation, but an actual healing center And then that way the people around are protected, because we have to think about that too. The people may feel like they need that place.
No, in fact, that thank you for reminding me, because I had a note here to ask about the hospitals specifically. I mean, I don't frequent them places. I don't go, but they are there, and the people do still believe they need them. But on top of that, these particular hospitals need to literally be, rebuilt. And I'm speaking physically, but I'm not looking at that piece right now. But literally, they need to be. They're nothing but debt, and debt upon debt upon debt upon debt. So my question was what the question that was running in my mind is, how do we use this process, even as what we're looking at today and the diversity payments, to get the funding into these facilities? That was certainly a question. Mm-hmm.
So whatever the name of the hospital is, look it up and see if they have a bankruptcy filing on the record. And
well, Karen, I was going to say it's actually a public hospital. This one in particular that I was looking at, but the others are where I'm looking at first and foremost would be the public hospitals, which they're government facilities. So, well, no, let me take that back, because they're still they've been incorporated. I don't know. That's exactly, yes. So I just fixed myself. But yes, I doubt, I'm going to look, but I doubt whether that information it will be on any kind of record here. But I will absolutely do my research to look into that.
Yeah, so do research on that, because you'd be surprised at what's out there when it's time for us to do the test of things manifest. They manifest.
Okay, so okay, I'll stick a pin right there. So then, basically, if the information is there, and we are going to will it into being, what if it's not there? I'm seeing from, was it the previous congressional or the one before, where you actually, the company that presented itself to you did your research and saw that they were bankrupt. So the process would be the same processes really that you went through with that particular process, with that particular company. Okay.
Yes. I'm about to show you right now what I saw.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but
but could you zoom in a little, please?
Yes. I'm trying to see if this is the actual, if this is the whole thing that I saw previously. I will to show you what I saw previously. This is not
the one. Okay.
Is it? Well, no, this is the right one. Yeah, this is close. This is an updated filing.
Are these all debtors that we look like addresses?
These are creditor, quote unquote. These are unsecured creditors to the debtor.
Okay.
Unsecured creditors to the debtor. As I stated, they don't put secured creditors on there because we're that and we've not spoken.
Right, okay.
Even though they have someone here, Raymond Moore, well, that's not us. But yes, if you look at this filing here, I'll show you where I even got the, let's see. Here is the Internal Revenue Centralized Insolvency Office.
Hey. Oh.
They are Yeah, they are listed as this is a debtor, and we deal with the centralized solvency office, so we spell everything out, and it becomes the solvency office. And that's where we send notification that checks to all of these debtors, or this debt has been discharged by us, and so on and so forth.
And then you would do a check at the Treasury to all of those listed there?
I'm considering that as part of the process, but I'm not sure if I really will to do that, because some people have thousands of creditors.
Well, that was going to be, I mean, I know we have work to do, but there has to be a way to to solidify that a little bit, because as you state, there could be thousands.
Well, the Prophet Noble Ali stated we would need 16 secretaries. This is why.
Well, there you go.
We could now this is the other side of that. When we spell everything out and issue a payment, we're going to be issuing it to our own company that we are the chiefs over. All of these companies will become solvent when we start to issue. You see what I'm saying? And that's gonna enlarge our estate by just exponentially already.
That's right. This is our accounting. This is accounts payable actually for all of these individual or each of these companies. Yes.
There was the one that I saw before it was uploaded to Pace Monitor had the amounts that were owed. I'm going to see if I can find that really quickly.
Okay.
Because it's interesting to look at. But by the way, Empress and Morris, this is how we're going to employ everybody. Everybody can work if they will to work. By way of the Constitution and real money and all of that. There's plenty of work to do. I mean, my Empress and I we have just so much work already with just logging in all of the return receipts and the paper and things that I've done. And then this presents itself and it's like, okay, well, let's start, padding the pockets, as it were, of the companies that we own so they can continue working. And any company on this list that we where we say, oh, we probably don't need that one, we can just send a check and say, we're also, after the cashing of this check, and it doesn't even matter before or after. Once the check is cashed, they can stop this work and find other work.
Okay.
Okay. We don't have to keep them going like that if we feel that it's not necessary on the land.
So I have another question.
At any time, we can send an 810 and stop the flow. Islam.
Okay, so you actually, the statement you just made about, okay, so after the cashing of this check, you can go find something else to do. In that instance, for instance, with one of our companies, and like for instance, you had where you put a competent more in the position of running things or running the project or whatever. In the instances where, say, one doesn't feel like the diapers and all of that sort of thing, but you could remove someone, put everything, somebody else, a competent more to run, and then the other just is fired. I mean, or are you stating that we have to take care of it too? Or can it be just moved?
They can be removed. So what we would be doing is a debtor, removal of debtor in possession. Okay, that is an 11 United States Code 1185 movement. And when you remove the debtor in possession, then it is up to them, whoever they are, to go to whatever part of the system they need to go to in order to get help. Okay, we don't have to do anything with that. they have to go back to the system and get some help.
Okay.
Until they find something else.
Okay. Or leave. Okay.
Or leave. They can leave if they choose to. The lines are. Yeah. Now this is the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Empress.
That would be leaving of their own volition.
Yeah, and many of them have already done it. Many of them.
Right. I heard Chief Justice Angel stating that. So, yeah.
Yeah. This is the bankruptcy where they listed the unsecured creditors. So amount of unsecured claim you can see here, and they just listed, how many and how much was owed, and there's a disputed amount here and all of that. We could spell all of this out and pay it to our companies, and that would actually nationalize or naturalize all these companies. When we issue the payment to them and spell out everything, it will nationalize or naturalize that company.
So let me, and that could you give a link to that for research if possible?
Sure, absolutely.
Would be really now. We all along while we've been leaning, levying, and bonding, which is nationalizing. Now in this instance, you state naturalize. So, define the difference for me at this point. Why the language has now switched, even though these were of the same jurisdiction or fraudulent jurisdiction prior. So
when we start our own, like I have my seall companies, that's a nationalized company because it started with me. If there is a naturalized company, that means that in the previous era's enactment, there were actors doing that. And we're just saying, okay, those resources, not the paperwork and the debt, but those resources belong to us. And we're determining how those work. And that is naturalizing.
Right, and I get both of those, but I'm just what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong. All along, it was my understanding, which could have been wrong, that what we were doing with the processes was nationalizing.
Correct.
And
you're right.
Now we are naturalizing, and I want to know why we've changed the language at this point. Is it because these are bankrupt, but they've always been bankrupt, so everything we were doing, so I just want some clarity as to, well, I understand the difference between national and naturalization. I know that, at least with living people. So I just want for you to clarify that for me.
Thank you for that question, Empress, because it's going to clarify it further as well for me as well. So none of these companies that are on here, they've been in the hands or in the quote-unquote custody of foreigners. They've been in the custody of foreigners. When we take custody, it would still be nationalizing.
That's the piece. Because everything was in the custody of foreigners. I mean, everything, even the U.S. was foreigners.
In the enactment, yes, yeah.
Yes. That's so I'm my boat's rocking a little bit here because I'm trying to make the switch. Yeah.
That makes sense, Empress. So we'll say we'll continue with the word nationalizing. Is
okay.
That,
maybe
that's giving me some clarity also, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe because it came up, there's some research that, maybe some fine tuning that we all need to do. I mean, because it didn't come up by accident. That's so.
Yeah. I was when I first started thinking about that precept, I was thinking about the difference between companies that we start. For example, my saltwater minerals company, it was never in bankruptcy. I didn't have it before I nationalized. I know who I am, and this company is brand new, ancient.
It's national. You're a national.
Yeah. It's never been in the Babylonian system. It's never been in that system.
Correct.
So I was attempting to in my knower to make a distinction between companies like that and companies that were in the custody of foreigners, now subjects.
Right.
But I think that's probably in the foundational paperwork anyway. So
because
I nationalized.
Yeah, because I mean what I know in my knower, and I recognize I'm knowing, I'm along the learning and all of those things. But that was a knock for me, because all along I even have used that language of nationalizing and even when the topic of what the subjects in the corporation have been doing, say for instance on the continent of Africa, and it's all you've always stated that they were nationalizing in their enactment, but you get what I'm saying? So that's a lot of bells were sort of knocking for me as to I mean I literally heard brakes, when you're in cartoons you hear the brakes. So yeah. I know, long story. All right, I yield.
Thank you, Empress. That type of clarity is necessary. It's necessary.
I know it is for me. I mean, and yeah, it is for all of us.
For me too. For me too. I was just trying to distinguish between the two, but at this point, that's not really that important.
Because
for me to distinguish between my company and the ones that were nationalized, because that was our stuff too.
Because it's ours also. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Empress. We appreciate you, and you're adding light and clarity as well.
Well, certainly to myself. So thank you. Yes. Thank you. Islam.
Anyone else with any other questions? I put the link to this document in the chat so that you could study it, because this document just opened my eyes to quite a few things about what we're talking about and what we're dealing with in terms of bankruptcy and insolvency and things of that nature. This is the document where when I looked at the number of debtors on here and what was owed, number 4 right here, number 4. This is my first time seeing an internal revenue system centralized solvency office. I did not even know that existed, and it's at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That is what let me know that we were supposed to be speaking from that place into these matters, so that we could, because see, they've been filing stuff and sending stuff to Philadelphia, but who was there to answer and who was there to know that we were supposed to be speaking to this stuff?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so what we're doing now is just starting to speak back to our resources and our systems, so that everyone knows where they are and where they're, what's to be done and all of that.
May I add a little tidbit on Philadelphia?
Yes.
So I was doing some research on Philadelphia, the word, and in the middle of the word, of course, is Delphus, which is womb. Did you know that womb is in the middle of Philadelphia?
I did not know that. That means the love of the womb, because phila means love.
Yes, that's the piece, and I was just absolutely like, what?
Wow.
I mean, it's so even down to brotherly love is really womb love. because all brothers come from the womb, and that again speaks even more to the Capitolium, to the matriarch, to the dominion. I mean, it was just so I just willed to share that, because when I saw that, I knew the meaning brotherly love, but I really wanted to just break it down, and there it was, womb, right in the middle. So anyway,
wow.
Yeah.
And then, the word Pennsylvania, whenever they were doing vampire movies about Transylvania, that's where that word Transylvania was. It was a offshoot of the word Pennsylvania because of the vampirism that was going on there. Islam.
And also Sylvan is woods, the word to the trees. Again, tree of life. I mean, so it's I yield. Yeah.
Islam.
Islam in percentage.
I took a look at this link here that you put in the chat, and it's pretty telling for all the adhesion contracts that were adhered by the initial fraud of the debt.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, so Penny Lane 7917 Aspen Highland Drive was mentioned up here as a signature of something. Here it goes. Hold on. It's verification of creditor matrix, and Penny Lane was a signature of debtor. And then, like here, okay, they have, let's see, 20 persons who have some type of monetary value that's associated with their corporate entity location. And to me, that looks like, let's see, like Bank of America, they must have been somebody who was acting as a loaner of some type of fiat. AT&T Mobile Communications, that must have been what they utilized for communication. Blue Cross Blue Shield was their insurance company, and so on and so forth. And so, and then when you get down to the bottom of it, they just start listing all of the corporate adhesion persons in alphabetical order, and like, let's say, let's see, one of these had an example, and there was like multiple ones that had, let's see, one of them I just was, okay, so Lionheart Funding LLC. They have the Lionheart LLC funding at 15632 Allure Drive, and then they have another one at 34 Broad Street in Red Bank, New Jersey. Another one was in Westfield, Indianapolis, and then they have another one, Lionheart Funding LLC, at 66 West Flanger Street, Miami, and then they have another one in Lakewood, New Jersey. And it's like, really? All those corporations was entangled with this dry cleaners. Okay. And then you have Penny Lane at Aspen Highlands again, and that address was mentioned up earlier, somewhere up in the other document. And it's like,
she's listed as the debtor, quote unquote, CEO of the company or whatever, and she's also listed in the list of creditors. They just don't give an amount.
Islam. It sounds like a RICO case to me, or racketeering being proven.
Well, so people who start companies sometimes put their own money in first, and then they, they try to recoup it later. So it could have been a case of that, or you could be right. If it's not, it could be a case of, something like that. So this is a great case study, by the way. So if you will to study this, you can see how they just took, quote unquote, funds from everywhere that they could and still couldn't manage the stuff. You know, they still couldn't manage it, so they ended up being here. And then how I found this this document is that I received a bid from the restoration part or whatever, one of these companies that's listed up here, because it went by all these other names. It went by Quick Dry Restoration, Office Steam Cleaning, Safe and Sound Moving, Maids Around Town, all of that stuff. It had all those different names, and they said, okay, we'll just put all the bankruptcies there. Here's the EIN, you know, and all of that. So this is a great study, if you will, to study bankruptcy. And then since then, this company has the ones that were previously pretending to be the heads of this company, they're trying to disconnect themselves from this filing. So there was a bond that came in the name of the bond, the name of the company that was bonded that I told you about for $12,000 was New Quick Dry of some city and some place. So they used a name that was similar, but it wasn't the same company. So the ones doing the work were not bonded, and the bond was for someone else. And so, of course, we said, no, we're not signing any of this. We had no intention of signing it in the first place. Even if it was great paperwork, we still would have restated it. So when we restated it, it was the day before that they were supposed to start work, and we had told them, we're not, no, don't come. Don't come. Because your paperwork is funny, and it needs to be right. It needs to be properly aligned. So, yeah. So anyway, for those who will to study this type of thing, I'm seeing a different filing. It's the same filing really, but it's just the papers issued by the quote unquote court. Quick Dry, Chapter 11. Quick Dry Carpet Cleaning, Chapter 11. And you can read, here's, I'll put the link to this in the chat too, because this is an accompaniment with the other, with the document that we linked, that we just looked at. And this
wait a minute. So this was sent to you because you was going to utilize them for a service?
I was going to utilize them for a service with a restated, of course, thing, and we weren't going to be using the green notes. We were going to be using a United Services Automobile Association form of payment, simply because we've already got lien, levy, and bond on that.
No, I get that part.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Let me tell you, Empress, they sent a Moor who was so competent and just smooth. And if we didn't know homework and work when we saw it, oh my word! I just have to show you.
Well yeah, I'll wait to see what you're showing. But I'm just saying they sent you this because you notified that corporate so-called head office of your paperwork and for your desire to have them come to your domicile.
They were going to come before I saw all of this, but then the ancestors said.
No, but I'm saying, because I know how you operate, Empress. You do your homework, you send notification before you do anybody to come to your domicile. So that means to me, you would have sent the acting corporate head office your paperwork, as well as other agencies, notifying them that you intend to do business with this company, thus and so. So that's my point of saying this, that because you did what you did of notifying, they sent you this information letting you know, the creditor, that this company is in bankruptcy.
They didn't send it to me. I found it in my research.
Oh, okay.
And here's the thing. If I hadn't researched, I wouldn't have found it, though, because they looked all well and good when the guy was here. Or, he was the one bright spot in the whole thing. He did an excellent job. And I know that's why they sent him here too.
Okay.
because we were supposed to be snowed in and so enamored with him and his professionalism and his abilities and things like that that we wouldn't look good at the paper, that we'd be like, okay, quote unquote, he's black, so we'll just go with them. No. Not doing that.
Islam.
Islam.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The bond that, in inverted commas, that they came with that had a different name.
Oh, yes, yes.
Any bond they could have come with couldn't have been competent anyway, though, could it?
No. Well, there would have been, you know, like one of the other companies had, they were insured for up to $1 million. Okay, they were insured for up to $1 million, but and their stuff looks great. But again, we have to restate all of that anyway. We don't just use it like it is. We you know, we
okay.
do it the right way. Mm-hmm.
So because their bond, their dollars would have been debt instrument dollars, wouldn't they? I mean, if they, so, I mean, you know, I know, so help me out there. Yes, because I'm thinking then if they're coming, they're bankrupt, which we know anyway, whether they filed or not because of our processes, but we've canceled debt and we've put all things in place, but yet yes. What they come with was not created by us, so it still could not be legitimate. We would have to restate, recreate, or create, not recreate, create.
Empress, that is why the ancestors had us to do documentation and paperwork on our own, get our own stuff together first.
Thank you. That's, I mean, that's, you know, my immediate, and I know this will change and flow more, but my immediate thought process is nothing they come with can be legitimate.
So we restate everything and then send out notifications. That's what we did. We showed you that in the previous yes. Congress where we wrote it up and everything. And Empress, they're accepting anything that will come across those bank lines. They're accepting anything that will come.
They have no choice.
Some people do it in Bitcoin. Some people do it in whatever. Ours is gold, silver, and more sovereign to learn.
So but Bitcoin is not legitimate, but they're still, because they're still in all kinds
Nobody's accepting it. Nobody's accepting that stuff anyway.
I mean, everything, in truth, everything has returned.
It has to be.
As it is supposed to be.
Yes. Yes.
One more thing, if I may. It's connected, but you made a statement earlier, much earlier in Congressional, about there are subjects at our companies, they will obey our commands. They will, if I go with my affidavits and everything else, and this had come up in a Congressional, you know, weeks back now, but it's in my mind to do. But I know we can do anything we will to do within, you know, in alignment. But so I'm picturing the banking system, the previous de facto account is now gold-backed, nationalized. I will to create a card that can be, you know, what do you call it? Not digitized, but connected to the system. Is it something? This is an idea I have. I could take a card I have that's blank, that I've printed, created, and take it in and with a writ of execution command that my banking system connect it to the gold-backed account, to that.
Yes.
That,
it is not necessary for us to walk down to anywhere and try and talk to them. It's not necessary. So it's better to send it in writing.
Okay, send it. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So your bank account, if you want to add some feature to this account, fill this out. If you want a card to go with this account, fill this out. Okay, so what you would was take theirs and restate it, put a photo, and then do an affidavit, a writ for execution, with a photo of the card that you created with the pertinent numbers and things on it, and send it.
Okay.
See, people, the reason why we discourage at this point, because this may change, the reason why we've been discouraging more from walking down to the quote-unquote bank and doing these kinds of things is because what we're doing is above the pay grade of anybody in there.
True.
They're not going to get it, and then they'll be trying to, we need to call the police. We don't know what she's talking about, and all of that stuff. We have to use wisdom with what we're doing.
Yes.
Take the right steps. And listen, if Warren Buffett and Bill Gates wouldn't walk down there and talk about banking with those people, because it's above their pay grade, they won't get it.
That's very, very true. That's very, very, very true. I mean, I was in my mind, I would have, gone to the top. I would have gone to the top. But even
the managers there, the subjects in the office of managers at places like that, that's above their pay grade too.
Oh, for God's sake, I know that.
Is the system in their little shop there.
Yeah, man, I know. Listen, I know that, absolutely. So, yeah, thank you for clearing that piece up for me, because I was just taking it myself, but I don't need to do that. You're correct, and I was just man.
You'll be speaking so far above, it's just like the Bible says, our thoughts are not their thoughts, neither are our ways their ways. As high as the heavens are above the earth, so are our thoughts from their thoughts and our ways from their ways. And we are called to bring that together.
Correct.
Okay, we're here to bring all of that together so that we can talk to our system and to subjects and things of that nature. But in the interim, that's what we're doing right now is crafting and creating a way for us and our systems to speak to those that are not the same status.
Yeah.
And we have to use wisdom to do that.
Islam.
Yeah. We have to know that that there's no room. If there's no other Moors in the room, we're the smartest one in the room.
And yes, that is we're danger. Hello, danger.
Danger.
Danger. Yes. I see a T-shirt. Danger. Yeah.
Yes,
anyway.
I do.
Much like Dr. G had one. What was it? Allegedly. Yeah, I see danger.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah. Danger. That's a good one for us.
I yield. Yes.
Yeah,
Islam.
Islam, Empress Minerva.
Just real quick, I just wanted people to think about this. Just looking at the 982 as we come up and the seasons change, and we're now looking at different weather patterns. This looks like it'd be a great tool for those that might have some challenges coming up. I'm not putting it out there, but things do happen as the weather change. So I just wanted to put that out there and let people, think about it during the week, and we'll reconvene next week. Islam.
Thank you for that, Empress Minerva. Let's take a quick look at this is one of the things that we were just, I was looking at it and I was thinking to myself, I know they don't think we will find anything close to this, and anybody, even people who don't know how to read, shouldn't sign anything. Like, they should know better than this. This is the Department of Labor and Industries, quote unquote, construction compliance model disclosure statement. this is a bond. This is a $12,000 bond. Okay. Look at this part right here. This is the part. Your property may be liened if a supplier of materials used in your construction project or an employee or subcontractor of your contractor or subcontractors is not paid. Your property may be liened to force payment, and you could pay twice for the same work. Who in their right mind would sign that? And this is the type of stuff that's being issued and put before the people. No wonder the people are like, no, this, and they didn't even sign it. It wasn't even signed, and they wanted us to sign it. I was like, okay, first of all, I'm not a customer. I have equity in the company 100%. That's number one. So I don't have to sign it. So anyway, Morris, that is all that I have at this particular time. Islam nobility.
Can we go to 982 so I can get
Can we go to where?
982.
Yes.
So
okay, Justice Consul. Okay, go ahead and get your screenshot. We had done that previously, but it's all good. We're at the place we will to be at this time.
So that person.
Islam nobility.
If you get the opportunity, can you give me a call?
I sure can. And Empress Nabi, if you would I gave Empress Angel the information just whenever you need it.
Islam gratitude.
Yep, we're here. Islam, ears wide open. Islam. Yes. Nobility, what is your appellation that asked me to call you?
Well, you may have it listed as Joe Brown, but I'm going with Joe Bay. Okay. And I did, and let me say this, okay? Now,
be quick though, because you're a little bit long-winded.
Okay. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, when I asked you about the L, and I did have some insight. I was just trying to understand how the Moors use the word term L. I understand the L, said and so forth like that. I had some insight. I was just trying to be on the same page with my understanding. But Joe Bay, I may be coming up as Joe Brown and with you there. So
that's fine.
You may see me like that.
It's long.
Okay.
We get it. Yeah, it's long.
Okay. All right. Shalom.
Islam. Shalom.
Thank you.
Justice Consul, what are you saying?
Can you go from the top of that document, okay, and start scrolling?
Okay, I was just doing that, hoping you were taking photos. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the one part.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Just the bottom part now.
And this is the last part right here.
Okay, I got it.
Islam. It is a great idea to recreate these documents more. The 982, the draft that I took this from, can be looked up as well on the 982. Here, let's yeah, here's the form. This is the draft that we took that from. And we'll put the link to this draft in here. This is where this is what it looked like when they drafted the draft of this. This is what it looked like. And it's a one-page document, and we just went through and restated the whole thing. So, okay, with that being stated, here's the link to that. Oh, by the way, Moore, those who may have seen this at the beginning, in order to get past this, all we do is click on this little thing right here, and then go down here to continue to the site, and we click on that, and you're able to get through to free conference call. For those who may have seen that, okay. With that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Say grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Peace and love.
Love you all. Peace and grand rising.
Love you too, nobility.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Love, love, and respect, Empress.
Thank you.
Thank you, nobility. Same to you, Islam. Thank you, Empress.
Islam, Empress.
Grand rising, nobility.
Gratitude, Empress.
Thank you, Empress. Islam.